Hey guys, I have another reaction. That was the first sentence. I have another reaction video. I'm going on, man. First it was Sonic Mania Project Sonic 2017. Then it was the March Comes In Like a Lion video. And now I'm doing another reaction video. Man, I'm on a roll. But yeah, sorry about the lack of uploads. I've been trying to work on a Yuri on Ice video, one that's not quite as positive as people would hope. Now, there's a lot of things concerning the Nintendo Switch. I wasn't sure. There's a lot of stuff. I think a lot of people are feeling the same as like, there's not a lot to know about the Switch. There's not a lot of info that we really knew, but now we do. And the presentation itself was lacking a little bit. I'll just say that right out of the gate. There was a couple things that were a little weird. I think most of it had to do with that translator, which I'm sure a lot of you know. That was an issue. That was a very big issue. So yeah, let's get right into it. First of all, they announced the big thing, the launch and the price point. And the launch, of course, is going to be March 3rd. The price point is $300. A lot of people are happy with that price. I think it's a little too much. I think $249 would have been the perfect, the perfect one. But I can settle for $300. If they went more than $300, it would not have been very successful, so I'm glad they kept it low. Although I can't remember if you can get the Xbox One S for $299 or even the regular Xbox One. So that's kind of an issue right there. So especially since the Nintendo Switch is definitely going to be underpowered compared to the PS4 and Xbox One. The second thing is there's going to be some online services. I'm not sure if online multiplayer is going to be free throughout, but every online service will be free for a time, and then it's going to go into a paid service into the fall of 2017. That is concerning, because that's the one thing Nintendo's had over Sony and Microsoft, was that they had free online, they had free, there was no strings attached. Now it's gotten to the point where the big three have made online services paid. And while it's still not that much, I'm not super excited for the prospect of paying for online. The next thing is that Nintendo Switch will be region free. This was never an issue for me. I never imported games before. So yeah, it's great news for other people. It doesn't really affect me that much. Now, the next thing that I was concerned about, well, actually, I didn't know it would be concerned until they showed it, and I was like, that's not very good. The Joy-Con controllers, the little asides on the Switch that you pop off, and then you can control like that. I wasn't concerned about the size. I figured it would be good enough to fit in your palm, maybe a little bit wider, and then that'd be fine. But I saw the guy hold it and was like, that looks extremely tiny. Nintendo has this issue where they start with a console that is way too small for most people. I'm not sure if it's just the general size of Japan versus the Western world, because it seems like they keep starting out small and then go like, every single time there's been a DS, oh wait, that's too small, gotta go to DS XL. It's like, oh, 3DS, no, that's way too small. Gotta go 3DS XL. I'm actually gonna go get one, the new 3DS XL, after I do this, because I still need to play Pokemon Sun, and I really want to, but my old 3DS is just too small. It's not comfortable. So yeah, there's that. But the Joy-Con controllers look extremely tiny. First of all, it took me 3 minutes to realize that they were talking about ice cubes to explain the rumble. And I was thinking, it's like, what the hell are they, like, ice cubes that can fill a glass? And they're like, you can fill water? It's like, what the hell are you talking about? And then eventually, after they stopped talking about it, I was like, oh, they were talking about the rumble. It's like, oh no, there's three rumble sensors in this Joy-Con controller, even though it's extremely small, and then it rumbles with very extreme preciseness to give you the full immersion of the game. They couldn't just say that. They just had to go ice cubes. It's just one of those things. It's really confusing, especially for a presentation where you need clarity to sell your product. It was just weird. There's a motion IR camera, detects hand movements, distance. I'm not sure the usage of that when it comes to software, but I guess it does something. And it looks like the Joy-Con's gonna be like kind of a replacement for the Wii remote. But even then, the Wii remote was huge, and I like that because my hands are huge. The Joy-Con, that looks like something like day one people are gonna have problems with. But that's about it for the hardware. Now we move on to the most important part, the software. And they kind of delivered. They had a lot of interesting games announced. It's just a problem of, launch windows, release dates. The only thing that's going to be looking to release at launch is, I guess, 1-2 Switch. I can't imagine that they're going to freaking delay that. Then there's ARMS. I'm pretty sure ARMS is going to be release date. But anyway, let's talk about it. 1-2 Switch party game. It's confusing. It's like you look at your opponent instead of the screen, and it just looks like I'm not sure how that's going to work. But yeah, party game. There's not much to it. ARMS. That was the one I was like, that's a little weird. It could work. But I saw the motion controllers in the trailer. Is like, that's kind of weird because I saw the camera moving around all the time. I thought it was kind of like that Pokken tournament kind of camera angle, like that Naruto Storm kind of camera angle where it just kind of switches. I'm not sure motion controls would work like that, but then they moved on to gameplay and it straight up punch out. And that's the thing was like, okay, I like this. This looks cool. So ARMS, it looks great. I'm pretty excited for it. Splatoon 2, that was the weird one. Because Splatoon, I played it for a bit. I just didn't get into it. A lot of people did. I didn't. I think it's just because I have more experience playing other shooters. That Splatoon felt kind of lacking. It was fun for a Nintendo game, but it just felt lacking. But anyway, Splatoon 2. This was shocking, especially since Splatoon was last year or 2015. Oh god, it's 2017. You know what? Never mind. That's a 2-year gap. I think that's good enough for a sequel. Especially nowadays. Yeah, I guess that's fine. That was kind of my only beef with it. It's like it's weird to release a sequel this soon, but I'm not used to it being 2017 yet. I mean, it looks fine. I'm not sure. The only thing I had a problem with Splatoon, other than just not getting into it, was the lack of content at launch. So I hope they fix that with Splatoon 2. I was actually expecting more of a Splatoon everything, just like everything's crammed in, like a Splatoon Extra Edition, or what they're doing with Mario Kart 8. But yeah, Splatoon 2. This next one was a strange one, Super Mario Odyssey. Now, I was looking at it, I was like, this Sonic Adventure, because it looks a lot like it. Just walking around, like, if the people had been, like, looked like they'd belong in a Mario world, then it'd be fine. It'd be like, oh, okay, it's city structure, but they look human-like. So Mario's running around like, it's straight up Sonic Adventure. So I thought that was pretty funny. But it looks pretty interesting. It looks like a return to the Galaxy formula, because I know a lot of people like it. I just kind of got tired of the Super Mario Land formula. It just felt like, oh, it's like, cause Super Mario Land 3D on the 3DS, that was fantastic. And then they made another, and then they made another. And it's the same thing with the new Super Mario Brothers. Like, oh, it's super cool the first time. Then they did it again and again and again. But this finally looks like a return to the Galaxy Sunshine 64 formula. And I'm excited for it. It looks a little strange. Some of the level design looks a little bit off. I'm just going to have to look further into it. Odyssey is an interesting name. I also... When I was looking at the, you can read my Twitter feed for this. I was looking at the trailer that they were showing. I was like, "Is this Mario's Missing HD?" Because that was straight up like, especially with the Odyssey name and the globe in the title. I was like, that would have been funny. They should have trivia. Just guys. You need to reference it. This needs to be. Come on. How many times does a Sonic Twitter reference Sonic 06? Come on, guys. The next one is Xenoblade 2. I'm not really a Xenoblade fan, so it looks cool. People who like Xenoblade are super excited for it, so I guess there's that. But there's not really much else. Especially as a newcomer, I don't really see much in Xenoblade 2. I mean, the design looks a little alright, except for the character design. I don't like the pseudo-anime look, which is weird because I'm a super anime fan, but it's kind of weird to see it as potent as that. That's what I'm talking about. When it's something like Final Fantasy, I can kind of get into it, but when it's so potent in Xenoblade, it's like, oh well. Then Fire Emblem Warriors. It's going to be another Dynasty Warriors game, I assume, just with Fire Emblem characters. I love the Dynasty Warriors. Let me rephrase that. I love the Dynasty Warriors built games, not the Dynasty Warriors games, because I've heard those are kind of a mixed bag. But I like the mix-up, the crossovers with other properties like Hyrule Warriors and the One Piece Pirate Warriors. I perfected that on PlayStation 4. Holy shit. I don't know why I did that. I did it, but it just... Whew, that took some time. But yeah, I've never been into Fire Emblem. I might be, which is funny because I'm going to talk about this when it comes to Dragon's Quest 10, 11, Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2. Usually I'm not into the JRPG stuff, but I have been getting into it a lot more recently, especially with stuff like I Am Setsuna and Final Fantasy 15. So I may be getting into Fire Emblem, Dragon Quest, stuff like that. I'm interested. I'm not too much of a fan of the Akira Toriyama designs. I've never really been that much a fan of Akira Toriyama designs, which is fucking sacrilege to say as an anime fan, but you know, it just what appeals to me. So I may be interested in that, but I'm still a newcomer, so it doesn't really affect me. Shin Megami Tensei, kind of the same thing. I don't even know what Shin Megami Tensei is. I don't know what genre it is. It's just one of those things I hear all the time, but I never figure out what the thing is. I have no idea what it is. The next thing that also caught me off guard, and I'm really interested about, is Project Octopath Traveler, except for that name. That's a strange name. But it's this hybrid sprite-based, but also HD JRPG made by the people who did Bravely Default. I still need to play Bravely Default. Maybe I will if I get my new DS, because the one I have is too small. But yeah, it looks interesting. I really like. I'm always a fan of the subdued feeling of certain games like Journey. Never got into Abzu. I don't know why. I Am Setsuna. There's a couple other ones I can't name. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. But yeah, it looks interesting. I'm really excited for it whenever it comes out. The next one was a big one, Skyrim. Now, we were pretty knowledgeable that Skyrim was coming to Switch because of the Switch reveal, the initial reveal, and it was Skyrim. It's like, no, no, there's nothing confirmed. It's like, it's Skyrim. I spent 20 hours looking at guards tell me that my sweet roll is stolen. I know what Skyrim looks like. Especially with dragons. I'm just trying to get home, and I get attacked by a dragon, I lose all my shit. I have to drop dragon bones and fast travel, and fast travel back after I drop all my shit. Anyway, so that looks interesting. Skyrim looked noticeably downgraded, though. I'm not sure if anyone else caught that, but some of the textures looked really flat. There was a lot of curvature in more of the detailed textures. There was more smoothness in some of the enemies. It was something that you'd miss if you weren't paying close attention to it, and especially if you haven't played Skyrim. But having played Skyrim a lot, I looked at it as like something looks different. So I'm not sure if it's going to be downgraded or not. I don't know. Next one, No More Heroes. I've never played No More Heroes. I've been told to play it countless times. But I don't have... Oh, I still have my Wii. I don't have my Wii U anymore. for reasons. It was collecting dust. Didn't really want to do it anymore. So No More Heroes. Not sure the details. Not sure if it's No More Heroes 3. No one could hear over that translator who, you know what? Hearts out to the guy. I'm sure he had a rough time after his initial stumble. He couldn't get back up, but that's part of the job. So I guess I'm excited for it. It's I'm more excited for it because the main character's name is Travis and my name is Travis. So, it's like destiny. So yeah, that's it. The next announcement, EA Sports FIFA. Not even Nintendo can escape EA Sports now. That was like their one saving grace, like, oh, we don't have to fraternize with EA Sports. And it's like, nope, EA Sports, guess what? We're here, bitch. FIFA. Then they left. That guy's translator was better. I assume. Maybe the Japanese people in the audience is like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? He can't translate what the shit they're having the same conversation. But anyway, next was Nintendo Switch box contents, and at this point everyone's vibrating. It was like, Legend of Zelda! So they announced a couple other things. Pre-orders start in Japan January 21st. The box contents look fairly standard. You're gonna get the standard package. You're gonna get everything that helps you set up, and I guess a little bit more, but it's a standard box. But for $300, I don't know. I guess when it comes, it'll come. Then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There's a couple other announcements that were not made during the conference. Sonic Mania is going to be coming to the Switch. That's pretty interesting. That was a major criticism when Sonic Mania was first announced, was that there was no word of it coming to the Switch. There was word of Project Sonic 2017 coming to Switch, but not Sonic Mania. I think Sega just wanted to avoid another Sonic Boom disaster where it's like, yeah, sure, it can go on that console, it'll be fine. Then they turn to Christian Whitehead, it's like, hey, yeah, you can make it. Howard's like, this is a completely different thing, bros. They're like, fuck it, it'll be fine. Then the whole, everything comes crashing down. But yeah, I guess it was just a situation where they're like, let's wait until the reveal, and then we'll be like, okay, this can come over to Switch. The Mania release date is still spring 2017. I think it would be a major seller if they had Sonic Mania come out, launch March 3rd, and they maybe had more time to develop Sonic Mania for the other consoles, so maybe April, May, something like that. But if they made a launch of Sonic Mania on Switch, I think that would have been a major system seller, especially if it came out before it would release on PS4 and Xbox One. That would be a huge seller, but whatever happens, happens. I'd also imagine a lot of people would be mad about it coming out at different dates. So then all of that, there was a couple other off-screen announcements. So then we came to the final thing, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Oh my god, that trailer was incredible. I love that trailer, especially coming from a story analysis kind of guy. It's funny because whenever I see something that doesn't have a story to it, I just turn off my brain. But the second it was like,
I think you are now ready to hear what happened 100 years ago.
Everything I've done up until now, it was all for nothing.
And my brain switched back on. It's like, there's a story in here. I want it. But yeah, that trailer was fantastic. I love the music. I just love it. I like it a lot. And then the major bombshell, March 3rd, it's going to come out with the Switch. Now, that was the one who was like, yep, I'm getting a Switch day one. I'm not waiting for Legend of Zelda, especially since I don't have my Wii U anymore. I'm not waiting for Legend of Zelda. That was pretty much the thing. It was like, oh, man, I'm sealing the deal. This is day one Switch purchase. But when it comes to other stuff, when it comes to the launch of the Switch, when it comes to people who aren't interested in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and this is kind of the major problem, is that there's not much else to really sink your teeth into when it comes to launch. I mean, there's ARMS and 1-2 switch if you're just bored out of your mind. But there's really not much else, and especially when it comes to a press conference where their device is releasing in less than 2 months, there's not really a lot of incentive if you're not a Zelda fan to buy it day one. I knew if Zelda was not going to be day one, that launch would have been terrible. I can't remember if the Wii U's launch was terrible or it was just the aftermath. But it would have been, I think it would have been worse than the Wii U if Legend of Zelda did not release along with the device. Especially with Nintendo's rough past with pre-order stuff. But anyway, so Nintendo Switch presentation, I think there was a lot of problems with it. There's not a lot of incentive right now to buy day one if you're not a Zelda fan. If you are a Zelda fan, there is every incentive in the world. And maybe I'll pick up ARMS if that is a release, a launch date, which I think it is. I think they mentioned that somewhere in the presentation. I'm just not sure when. But yeah, there's a couple other concerning things. The Joy-Con controllers, the size. That sounds like that's going to be an issue. The output was also something else that they didn't really talk about. And especially in this day and age where I now have the Xbox One S, which, granted, it upscales, but it still does 4K video streaming. And it does have some HDR gaming. I just haven't tested it out yet because all the games that are HDR compatible I'm just not interested in. The Switch presentation had a lot of issues. I think most of that had to do with the translators they got. I think a lot of the problems could have been properly addressed if the translators were better, because there's just a lot of stuff that it sounded like there was information in it, but then there was no translators. There was like a good 10 seconds where I just heard a Japanese guy talk, and I watched a lot of anime, but I couldn't pick up everything. I could hear thank you for having us, and that's about it. Yeah. I'm cautiously optimistic. It looks like an interesting device, but I'm still a little bit worried that it's gonna fall into the same Wii U problem, where it's like, oh, that's a really cool device. That has a lot of opportunities. And then comes 6 months later where it's like, not really much to play on it. And then come the end of the life cycle, which, man, I just wish there was a little bit more announced, because there's not really much here. This looks more like a 4-month game window release, not an entire year of game releases. And I'm sure there's going to be more coming out this year that haven't been announced yet. But as far as announced, where there's not even a launch date, not even a launch window, for a lot of this stuff, that's kind of a problem. I think it'd be funny if they released Skyrim day one too. That'd be pretty funny, because Skyrim Special Edition has been out for a few months now. That'd be funny if, like, boom, day one. What are you gonna do? Both Skyrims of Zelda and just Skyrim, they're released the same day. Pick one. That'd be a horrible business design. Because everyone would buy Zelda and not Skyrim. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm gonna get it day one, but that's because of Legend of Zelda. If you're not a Legend of Zelda fan, I don't think there's really much here for you. So yeah, that's about it. Now when it comes to my channel, I'm working on a couple videos. I'll get those done hopefully soon. I want to get the Yuri on Ice video done sooner than the others. Just so Yuri on Ice is fresh in everyone's minds. Especially with that Crunchyroll Anime Awards. Man, if you thought everyone else is salty about it, I'm extra salty about that. How is it best ending? It's not!